Thanks for checking us out. This is the Mike Rochester YouTube channel, and it is a chilly 25 degrees here in upstate New York. We are taking a look at two e-bikes in the hopes of helping you make a decision on which one's best for you. Up to the front, we have the Discover one, and then this is going to be the Nomad one. They're both StepThru bikes by Velotric, and we're going to show you some of the differences in hopes that it helps you make a decision on which one's best for you. So let's go ahead and get started. Both bikes are going to have the same battery that are going to be 48 volt, 692 watt hours. They're going to be made by LG or Samsung. The cool thing is that they're Tesla grade batteries. They're both going to be integrated and removable. Both chargers are going to be 48 volt, 3 amp hours, and they're going to be having a charge time of about 5 to 6 hours. The Discover one is going to have a 500 watt hub motor that's 48 volt and 65 Newton meters, where the Nomad one is going to be a little bit more beefy with a 48 volt 750 watt hub motor. Both bikes are also going to have the same display, 3.5 inch backlit LCD display that's going to share with you the speed, trip, battery, pedal assist level, and more. They're also going to both have a USB port for charging accessories while you're riding. Both bikes have thumb throttles. On the Nomad one, the thumb throttle is on the left side of the handlebars, whereas on the Discover one, the thumb throttle is on the right side. The thumb shifter on the Discover one is going to be a little bit different than the trigger shifter that's on the Nomad one. Both bikes have the same high output integrated LED adjustable headlight. Velotric says the range for the Nomad one is going to be 55 miles, and on the Discover one is going to be 65 miles. Throttle only range they claim is going to be 52 miles on the Nomad and 58 miles on the Discover. So those are some pretty big numbers. The Discover one has an integrated tail light, and the Nomad one has a tail light that's battery operated that you can turn on manually. The Nomad one gets an extra gear at 8 speeds versus 7 speeds on the Discover one. So that's going to be a little bit different on the two bikes. Both are going to have hydraulic disc brakes. Both have the same 180 millimeter rotors. Both have aluminum power cutoff switch on the brake levelers. One of the biggest differences is going to be on the tires, where the Nomad one's going to have 26 by 4 inch tires, and the Discover one is going to have 26 by 2.5 inch tires. So you can really see the difference in the thickness of the two tires, and that's going to be probably one of the biggest differences about these bikes. Do you want a fat tire or do you want a narrower tire? Both handlebars look the same in shape. On the Nomad one, they're 700 millimeters wide, and on the Discover one, they're 660 millimeters. So a little bit of difference on the width, but pretty much the same when you're looking at them. Both bikes come with the same grips, and I like the fact that they have the lock here and lock down. It's so the grips never move on you. Both are going to have the same seat post, aluminum alloy, 30.4 millimeters with a quick release clamp. Both have Velotric ergonomic comfort seats. Both bikes come with front and rear fenders. The Discover one is going to be significantly lighter at 63.5 pounds versus 73 pounds on the Nomad one. The Nomad one obviously is a beefier bike. Both have the same 440 pound maximum payload, which is really impressive. So what I think it's going to come down to on these two bikes is going to be, which bike are you going to want? The Discover one's going to be a couple $100 less than the Nomad one. Now you can tell just by looking at the two bikes side by side that the Nomad one is definitely a more beefy bike. Some of the biggest differences when you look at them is the position of the thumb throttle, the shifter. Neither bike comes with a back rack. This is a rack I just put on separately. So another big difference is that the Discover one has a 500 watt hub motor and the Nomad one has a 750 watt hub motor. Some people may not think that this is a big enough difference because the Nomad you're going to be taking on the trails and you want that extra kick running up and down some of the hills, where the Discover one you're just kind of traveling on bike trails and flat ground for the most part, and you really don't need that extra power to the motor. So when it comes down to it, it's just going to come down to, do you want a fat tire bike or do you like a bike that has a thinner tire because you're not going to be riding it on any trails and you don't really care about that kind of stuff? If that's the case, the Discover is going to be best for you. Both models come in a step over. I just have the Step-Thru on both, which kind of helps me because I have a bad knee and it helps me get on and off the bike a little bit easier. And that's something to consider as well. So not only is it, hey, which bike do I like best, but do I want a step over or a Step-Thru bike? The days of it being a girls or guy bike are kind of out the window. It comes down to what bike is easier for me to get on with my lifestyle. I've said this before, if you're delivering or using the bike to commute, to deliver stuff, and you're in a city where you're riding your bike to make deliveries, a Step-Thru is going to be way easier getting on and off. I don't use my bike for anything other than pleasure, but I have the Step-Thru. So I have a rack on the back here, and let's just say, for example, I was going to go fishing and I wanted to put fishing poles. Obviously, I can't lift my leg over that. You'd have to tip the bike over and get onto it. With a Step-Thru, you don't have to do that. You just step through it. So that's something to consider as well. I'll put a link in the description to the Velotric website. So if you're interested in one of these bikes, you can go ahead and click on the link and purchase one for yourself. I'll also have any promotional codes if they're available. So like always, please like, share, and subscribe. Ride safe, have fun. See ya.